Hello viewers, this is J-Rod Production Studios bringing you guys another Clone Trooper video in preparation of the 2018 LEGO Star Wars Clone Army. I just wanted to go ahead and put some Clone Troopers on the screen one last time before you actually see that Clone Army all together. And of course this video is going to be about my favorite LEGO Clone Troopers that I currently have in my collection and army as well. Now I realize I have made this video in the past, however that is outdated enough that I have gained enough clones in the past couple years here, and few enough of you have seen it that I think I will go ahead and remake this video. Now this isn't going to be a countdown in any sort of specific way, because I think objectively it would be too difficult to be able to put a number on each figure independently, because there are just so many figures I like, and also it would be slightly opinionated and controversial because everybody has different thoughts. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you several Clone Troopers that I personally like the best. Now to start things off, of course, who doesn't love some good named commanders and captains in their collection? So the first figures I have put up here, of course, are Captain Rex, Commander Wolf, Commander Fox, and Commander Gree. Some have Phase 1 armor and some have Phase 2. I didn't include the Phase 1 Captain Rex because he personally isn't my favorite Clone Trooper. But speaking of Captain Rex, we're going to go ahead and take a look at him first here. You can see he has some really awesome printing. He doesn't have any actual accessory holes on the side to add any antennas, so that's a little bit disappointing, but he has some awesome features, including his blast comma there on his legs, as well as his pauldron, and he also has some nice back printing with a little bit of dirt that's rubbed on it. This figure only came in one set, so he is pretty popular and pretty sought after these days. And I think the other commanders are fairly self-explanatory. We never got a Phase 2 of Wolf and Fox, so of course I'm not going to be able to include those. Also, I'm not a huge fan of the Phase 1 Commander Gree, but I think all these figures absolutely look phenomenal, especially with their printing. And you can see that each one of them has some nice back printing as well. Now, two other of my favorite figures both came within the same wave of battle packs back in, I believe it was January of 2014. We have the Airborne Trooper right here and the 41st Elite Corps Kashyyyk Scout Trooper. They're standard Phase 1 armor components that both came in the battle pack, just the 212th and the normal Kashyyyk Trooper. I did not decide to include on this list because I think these figures are more memorable and more notable, especially with their helmet molds and some of that awesome printing. And like the other figures, here's a quick look at their back printing as well. And the next figure is one that I think that is extremely underrated. This is one of the first Clone Troopers that was ever released back in 2005 with the Clone Turbo Tank, and again in 2007 with the first ever battle pack. I think this is fairly underrated just because it's a generational problem. Most older collectors are the ones who had these in mass quantities, and people like the newer and better Clone Wars era and Episode 2/3 Clone Troopers nowadays. You can see though he has the cutout visor. I'm sure you guys have all seen this Clone Trooper before, and because of that I'm also going to go ahead and include this Clone Trooper just in there as well. Really like this figure. It's also pretty rare, pretty much just the same thing, only in green color. And perhaps one of my absolutely favorite, if not the favorite, Clone Trooper minifigure that was ever made was actually the first one back in set number 7163. All the way back in 2002, of course, that was the gunship. He also has the cutout visor, the same body as the one I just showed you, only his helmet is different. He is also the only Clone Trooper to utilize neck armor, and all around I think this figure is absolutely awesome. Mostly just because of his helmet, and the rarity of the figure makes him quite sought after, even though he isn't the most popular. And then two of the next figures are some of my absolute favorites. These are right up there along with some of my favorite figures. I like these more than generally all the rest of the figures, but that's just my personal opinion. Again, this is appearing in no particular order. We're not going to go ahead and take a look at each one of these figures individually because they're pretty much the exact same thing. You can see we just have the captain on the left and the lieutenant on the right. I'm not a fan personally of the color of the commander and sergeant enough to put them on the list, although I do like those figures as well. Let's go ahead and just show you the back printing. It would be the exact same on the lieutenant as well. He just has blue arms, and I'm sure again you guys have seen these figures. And what Clone Army is complete without at least some sort of a 501st or Clone Wars era Clone Trooper? Again, the 501st is extremely popular. I'm sure these three figures are common enough and not popular enough that we're going to go ahead and just take these aside. Again, we're not looking at anything too particularly here. I'm just showing you general synopsis of my favorite Clone Troopers. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at one that stands out from the rest, which is the 501st Trooper. He has some awesome printing, the same helmet mold and general body printing as the other one, just in different color. And staying within the general Clone Wars era, here is arguably, in my opinion, the best clone trooper ever made. One you absolutely would not expect LEGO to do, but they did anyways. This is the ARC Trooper, who utilizes lots of awesome accessories and great printing that I think makes him stand out from the rest, and he personally is one of my favorite Clone Trooper minifigures as well. You can see he has the Phase 2 prototype armor. He doesn't have the Phase 2 that we see later in the TV series, but he came out in 2012. Has some awesome blaster pistols and some cloth pieces as well. And on the back, he has an awesome brick built backpack that I think is a totally awesome design, and you can see how much effort LEGO actually put into this totally awesome figure that sells for about $10 to $15 on most websites now. And as we go ahead and round off this list, we are going to end this with perhaps, well, definitely the most popular clone trooper of all time, which is the Clone Wars era clone trooper that I believe came in either 9 or 10 different sets. So he's a pretty common clone, but he still respectively sells for about $5 on most websites now. You can see there's nothing totally special about him. Same helmet, mold, and general printing that we saw on the commanders of Fox and Wolf earlier. And again, you guys all know what this clone trooper is. I'm sure you've all seen him, so we're not going to go ahead and talk too much about what he actually entails, but he's just the figure. He's the one that brought army building. He's the one that brought so many mocks, so this one just holds an awesome nostalgic value to me, and I think most of you guys as collectors as well. So yeah, guys, I think this will actually conclude the list, so let me know what you guys think of this list and what your favorite clone troopers are. Again, there are a few clones that I would have included in here if I did have them in hand, but there are a few clones that I actually do not own yet, so this list probably will not be the same as most collectors, but this is just my personal thoughts on some of my favorite clones. And again, please stay tuned for that Clone Army video that will be coming out very shortly, so super excited to show you guys that video. And this was just sort of a hype video for that, to go ahead and show you guys some of the clone troopers and just to sort of prepare for that video. So thank you for watching. May the Force be with you, and as always, have a nice day.